Hey YouTube, what is up? How is everybody doing today? We are jumping into the end of year album ranking, song ranking stuffs for the year. There's been so many good tracks and so many insanity things that have released this year. I don't know what to choose. Like, I know I've got my albums sorted, but the main thing is going to be the songs that are the best, which is going to be so difficult. We're going to start with the album rankings first. We split the album rankings into a bunch of categories. So we have best vocal, best solo, most diverse, best breakdowns, best lyricism, best concept, which I still haven't done. And then we obviously have best overall. And also most brutal, heaviest, craziest, whichever way you want to go about it, right? So you get the idea. We're going to start from the bottom. I'm only going to go up to the top. I think it's the easiest way for me to do this. So we're starting with the best vocal category. I think this one should be obvious for the clean. The clean is obviously going to Seven Spires with Adrian Cohen, and with the album called A Fortress Called Home. As you may know, Adrian has been one of my favourite vocalists for a very long time now. She is probably one of the greatest vocalists on the planet, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with that clean wise. And growled wise, like, it's her mixture between clean and growls that makes her one of the greatest vocalists to live, right? Most people with growled vocals can't sing clean very well. Not always, a lot of them can. It's just like the amount of passion and power and everything that Adrian puts into what she does. It kind of puts her onto another level in terms of her ability, because she has a lot going for her. Like, if you listen from Soul Vehicle all the way up to A Fortress Called Home, you can hear the evolution of her vocals. You can hear her become stronger and stronger and stronger each album, where she starts off powerful, and now she's on like another level than, like, if you listen to Soul Vehicle then A Fortress Called Home. It's like two different vocalists almost, because of how much her voice has grown, how much her ability has gotten better over time and years, and that's just obvious with age and practice and everything else coming into it. Like especially her growls going into A Fortress Called Home. She's adding a lot more vocal techniques, a lot more twisting with the tongue techniques, and more, I would say, deathcore techniques in that way. She's not singing deathcore, but she's using some of those techniques to make her vocals sound more gnarly, if that makes sense. And her cleans are always amazing and powerful and passionful on things that she writes, especially within Seven Spires. But still, Seven Spires was always going to be the obvious choice, right? It was always going to be that, that he was obviously going to get the clean, because, like, they released an album this year, so that was always going this way. Whether that holds true for album of the year for me, that's yet to be seen, because there's quite a few that have been released this year that are amazing. But still, the best growled vocals, or whichever way you want to go about it, in best growled vocalist, deathcore vocalist, death metal vocalist, obviously deathcore vocalist, for me, is going to be none other than Neithful, or Mr. Derek Connolly, or also known as Mr. Unholy Cannoli. He is one of the greatest vocalists of our generation. See, for me, it's between two. Like, so, of our generation, we have Derek and we have Don Parchment, who is another great vocalist. He does I Say It and a couple of other bands. He's not as known. I would say Neithful are the more known, heaviest of basically most bands that I know. Like, Neithful are that next step up in the evolution of heaviness. They are just pure annihilation, pure brutality, pure everything going that way. And that holds true. It's not just for the music, it's just the level of Derek's vocals is insanity. His voice is beyond anything that you can imagine. It's like a demon is talking to you. That's literally his voice. That is just how it goes. And, what more can you say besides that? Dude is a beast, man. If you don't know Neithful, go check them out. Any album, it doesn't matter. Any song, any album, it doesn't matter, man. It will be fine. You'll be blown away. It's so brutal. It's so heavy. No matter what song, what year, no matter what, man, it's always going to blow you the fuck away. So yeah. And then for like an unusual one, I went for like the best earworm to keep on repeat song for me. It's obvious. It's Phantasma with a song called Carry Me Home. I've listened to it, I don't know how many times, for multiple days and on repeat sometimes, because I get very into music when it goes that way. It's whatever you want to call it. It's one of those songs that are just sticky in my head and I can listen to it forever. It's the same with Spires, it's the same with a few bands, but that song in particular this year has, the moment that I heard it to this day, is moments that I can just keep it on repeat and keep doing it, and you get the idea. It's a very, very powerful song. Like, lyrically, it's okay, but the actual beat of it feels very 80s in its style, but it's just a very, very repeatable song, in my opinion. If you don't know it, go listen to it. It's Charlotte from X Delay, obviously, so, but still. So, now we're going into best solo. The solo, it's going to be hard to choose. So we have the Seven Spires song No Place For Us. We have Forevermore from Immortal Disfigurement. We have Salome from Unlucky Morpheus. We have a few from Phantasm. We have the Let It Die solo. We have the Lotus and the Willow solo. We have the Deviant Heart solo. And we have the Miserable Me solo. We have Fate's Hand from the Unguided. We have Don't Mention His Name from Agoria and Let Her Be Safe intro from Agoria. So, I don't know. I think it's such a difficult choice between all of these, but the one that really sticks out to me, the one that when I think of an amazing solo, the first thing that comes into my head of these, like I can hear it in my head right now, is Unlucky Morpheus Salome. It's such a great fucking solo. That solo is one of my favourite solos of the year. Oh yeah, just an FYI, the albums we've listened to don't have to have been released this year. They're just ones which happen to be listened to this year. If that makes sense. That's why things like Unlucky Morpheus can be there, and Phantasma, and you get the idea. It's all paid for albums or albums I chose to listen to, or you get the idea. But yeah, like that Unlucky Morpheus song is amazing. The solo is everything. The solo is so cool, man. The way it builds into it, it's so fucking crazy. Like from the violins into the guitar solo, it's beautiful. It's unique. It's something that you don't hear as often, and it's something that stands out, which I think is the most important thing with the best solo, the best everything else, and you get the idea, man. I did miss a session accidentally, so yeah, most passionate. Most passionate is going to a band called Dreariness with their album called Fragments. It's a female-fronted depressive black metal band, or maybe death doom. I would say more depressive black, I would say, but atmospheric at the very least. They are very unique. They are very heavy. They have a lot of power, but most importantly, her voice is passionate as hell. As all hell, she is unique. Her voice is, I would say, it takes time to get used to it. It's not like a regular growl, it's very screechy and it's a black metal style. That's just kind of that vibe when you go into the depressive black vibes, right? It's a unique experience. Her voice is everything. It's one of my favourite vocalists of the genre. She is talented. She does everything that you would want from this style. It's depressive. You can relate to it. You can sit back, close your eyes, and just enjoy it. Like, for me, atmospheric music in general is something that I enjoy a lot. It's something that got me through my childhood. It's bands like Draconian and bands like that first got me into the genre, and everything like that, man. They are very, very good, man. Dreariness are a band that aren't very well known, or I don't know how many subs or whatever they have, man. They're very unknown, but they are very amazing, very worth checking out. If you are into the depressive album things that I am, or something similar to that, I do love a bunch of atmospheric music. It's very, very nice, man. We get a lot of it on stream, thankfully, and we discover a lot of new bands in the scene, which is always very cool to see. I do need to start releasing a lot more of that style on the channel, but that's more for 2025, I would say. We're going for most diverse. We're going between Icon for Hire, Amorphous. We're going between Ankor, Shoganai, and we're going between Rina Sawayama, basically a self-titled album from her. Icon for Hire is very good, man, but Ankor is one of my most favourite bands, but it's not about that, it's about diversity, right? Diversity is something that's very difficult to describe. It's personal preference at the end of the day, man. For me, I've listened to more Ankor than anything this year, I would say, or even over Seven Spires. I've listened to more Ankor than anything, I would say. I've listened to them a lot, like a lot. Icon for Hire, I've listened to a few songs. There's one song that I do love from them, which I legit cannot remember the name of. That's why I'm going to go look it up right now as I'm talking. It is Only Be a Story. That is like the one that has stuck into my head so much this year. It's slowly become like one of my favourite songs from them, which is very, very cool. Like, the whole album is different. It goes between rap and metalcore and other ways and shapes, but then again, Ankor goes between electronic metalcore, dance music, man, just a bit of everything. So, but still, I don't know, man. Yes, really cool. But yeah, I would say fuck it. I'm giving this Ankor Shoganai. I think Ankor deserves it. They are amazing. I'm going to go see them in February, just after my birthday. I think it's like 5 days after my birthday, or something like that. So it's going to be a little birthday present to myself. Get myself some merch, hopefully. And yeah, man, it's going to be greatness. But yeah, diversity is definitely going to Ankor. But yeah, I may as well like remove things from this as I choose. I would say I think that makes it a lot more reasonable this way. And yeah, now we're going into best breakdown. Now this is going to be a thing because like I didn't put any Needful into the best breakdown because the whole album is a breakdown basically. So it's so hard to choose between Needful breakdowns because that's everything they do. That is literally all they do. So I went away from that. So we have, between all of these, we have Disembodied Tyrant, Crow Black Sky, Disembodied Tyrant, the Divine Stigmata, Disembodied Tyrant, Omen Killer, Immortal Disfigurement, Showcase of Phlegm, the Destruction of Bethlehem Breakdown. We have Disembodied Tyrant Sinestria with Death Empress and the Poetic Adder. Honestly, all of these could win best breakdowns. Every single one. If they were released in different years and different times and different places, it would quite literally be. Like, it would literally be they would win the best breakdowns of whatever year they were in, right? Obviously, like, Disembodied Tyrant, their first album is like a bit ago, but we only covered it this year, technically, on the channel. Or on Twitch, should I say. I count Twitch as the whole channel too. Like, you know, things that happen on Twitch happened on the channel, technically speaking. But still. Because obviously I don't release everything just because time and editing time and, you know. It's a lot of work for me to do a lot of editing sometimes, but I digress, man. I don't know. I love Crow Black Sky. Crow Black Sky's breakdown is fucking insanity to me. But then again, Death Empress is amazing too, so is the Poetic Adder. The Poetic Adder's breakdown technically is Benoit, technically, so I don't know. It's between Ben, I think it's Don who does Crow Black Sky, and it's Blake, obviously, who does Death Empress. So, like, Immortal Disfigurement is amazing, and like, CJ is one of my favourite vocalists of all time, so there's no bad blood in that sense. It's just, there's bands that are heavy, there's bands that are better. Like, Immortal Disfigurement have just started, technically. Their first album was a little bit raw, in my opinion, but it was amazing. There was a lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, or some bad stuff, should I say. So, I don't know. I don't know, it's just personal preference. For me, I fucking love Crow Black Sky. It's such a great track, man. The breakdown is amazing. I love it every time. But Death Empress is too. Death Empress is an experience, man. When you get to that breakdown at the end, man, where it's just like straight in your face insanity, it's like, it's so hard to describe, like, which song I like more, or which breakdown I like more. It's just that they're all amazing, so no matter what I choose, every single one of these is a winner. If they were all released in different times, different places, they would all win, basically. Like, all of these songs deserve it, for the most part. They all deserve to be best of breakdowns, because they are the best breakdowns we've ever heard in deathcore, man. Or at least in what I've heard in deathcore this year. So yeah. This is just going from albums, obviously. Like, you know, like, this is from albums and breakdowns in that kind of a way, man. So, for me, it's going to have to be... I know for me it's between two, man, so it's between these two, right? I don't know. I love them both for different reasons. I love Crow Black Sky for one reason, and I love Death Empress because of its insanity. So I'm going to do joint. I'm going to do it that way, where it's both of them, because it's the same band, almost. Like, obviously, different singer. I think it's Don doing Crow Black Sky, and it's Blake doing Disembodied Tyrant Sinestria. So, I'm all for both. So we have both Don and Blake winning, which is, I think that's fair. Because they're both amazing breakdowns for their own reasons and their own shaped way, styles, etc. But yeah. As you can imagine, best concept, I didn't even go through all the concepts of the albums completely, to be fair with you. From what I can see, concept-wise, it's a very niche topic that I need more time to go into, I would say. Considering we only just did the very last album today, on like the 24th of December, or 23rd of December, sorry. And it's got to be released in like 2 days' time, or less than a day's time at this point, man, but still. I don't know. For me, I'm just going to give it to... Fuck, man, I don't even know. I can't give it to any of these deathcore bands because their stories weren't that good. Ankor and Shoganai, it had a decent story, I'm not going to lie. Unlucky Morpheus, it wasn't a coherent story. Dreariness' story was amazing, like, it had a very nice story to it. What wasn't coherent to go? The Unguided, its story was okay. It was kind of lackluster in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, no, it wasn't coherent. You're right. Concept, I'm gonna give it to Seven Spires just because Seven Spires are great. And Adrienne always has amazing lyricism in most things that she does. Or things that she's written herself, should I say. So, I'm going to do it that way. Best lyrics, I only did 2 here. I could have probably added more to it, to be fair. I think, like, I think, like, between these 2 and the Unguided Don't, it doesn't need to be them. I think Seven Spires, because, like, there's so many quotes of this new album that I love, but I think this one really fits me and how I kind of think internally, in, like, a weird way. A creature living eternal life, struggling to remember life, love, and even feelings, learning to love again and to embrace life itself in some ways again. I think that's beautiful. In its lyricism, I think that's just like a lot of us kind of shut down, kind of live internally inside of our own heads, and it's very difficult for us to come out of our shells. Especially me. That's just kind of how I've always been, because I struggle a lot with my CP shit. Like, I've noticed it kind of shuts down a lot of my emotional concepts. Like, my emotional side is not as big or wide as I think it should be, because I use a lot of restraint to kind of deal with the chronic pain, that it kind of shuts down a lot of things. Like, so obviously ignoring the eternal life stuff, but, you know, like, struggling to remember things and, like, struggling to remember what love or even feelings can be. I think that's important for me, especially just because of things I go through on the daily. But yeah, you get the idea, man. It's all personal preference. Any lyric is personal preference. I have a lot of personal preference when it comes to lyrics, especially. But still. But to be fair, there's probably like 20 fucking quotes from A Fortress Called Home that I could put in this place, but I thought that one was especially beautiful, in my opinion. So yeah, we're coming down to the important bits, man, and we're going for the album ratings categories, whatever you want to call them. So we have the most brutal, heaviest, craziest album, and we have the best overall. Which is, so this one is the best heavy one, this is just the best overall between everything. So any genre, anything, anywhere, basically. So yeah, let's go for the best overall with this one, man. So obviously we have Seven Spires, A Fortress Called Home. We have Ankor, Shoganai. We have Disembodied Tyrant, The Tower Part 1. We have The Divine Stigmata. We have The Poetic Edda. And of course we have Unlucky Morpheus Unfinished. Unfinished is nowhere near these albums. It shouldn't even be talked about. No offense to Unlucky Morpheus, but it just doesn't hold up towards these EPs or albums, or you know what I mean. It's really like, it doesn't even come close to Disembodied Tyrant. It doesn't come close to Ankor. It doesn't come close to Seven Spires, in my opinion. They're amazing. I love Unlucky Morpheus, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, their albums are never as clean as their singles. If the albums were as amazing as some of the singles, they'd be one of the best bands in the scene, but unfortunately, it doesn't quite go that way. See, I wanted to put, I was thinking at the start of the year, there's nothing going to be above Disembodied Tyrant for me, in terms of, like, craziness. So, like, either the Poetic Edda or the Tower series that they're going into, or the Tower album that they're splitting into parts. Like, they're amazing and they're heavy and they're brutal, and I listen to them all the time, but at the same time, I listen to Ankor and Seven Spires so fucking much, way more than the Deathcore scene, which is crazy, isn't it? But still, it is between these two. No offense to these are amazing albums. They are some of the best Deathcore albums that released this year. But for me, yes, I'm a Deathcore head, but I listen to music with everything. I don't just want brutality, I want emotions, and I want power, and I want everything in between. And for me, these 2 albums are what really fucking shone for me this year. I'm gonna read what I wrote, just as a basic description of what I think, and maybe try to delve in a little bit more into it in places. I don't know, I'm just gonna see how it goes. This is all top of my head. As you can imagine, I never do anything with plans or scripting or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, everything that I do is basically from the top of my head, just because that's just the way I know how to do things, for the most part. See, we're going to do Ankor, Shogunai first. The perfect blend of electronic music mixed with metalcore. The vocals are top-notch, emotional, soaring, with amazing hints of brutality where it's needed. Each song blending perfectly into the next while never quite sounding the same. Showing the wide range of talent, heaviness, and fun electronic vibes, giving us one of the best, if not the best, EP of the year, and pushing the metalcore scene forward along with it. So yeah, Ankor, if you don't know, they are an electronic metalcore band from Spain, with their vocalist being English. Their last albums, I admit, weren't that good, but for some reason this year they started releasing the parts of, was it this year or last year? Or, they started releasing Shoganai, they started slowly releasing part after part after part, and it built up and built up and built up into something amazing. It's one of my absolute most favourite EPs ever. It's going to be with me for a very long time. I'm going to listen to it when I'm fucking 90, if I'm alive when I'm 90, but you know what I mean, I'm going to be listening to it for the rest of my life. It's that fucking good. It's up there with Seven Spires easily. It is a beautiful EP. It is something unique that you've never heard before in the scene. It is like a toned down Bloodstained Child in its electronicness, like more dancey than trance, but that kind of way, but with female soaring vocals who can sing and growl and do everything in between. And the band have supported me this year. They've commented on things. They showed my channel in their recap of their release of Shogunai and everything, man, and it was like really cool to see that. For like a band of their caliber to even recognise such a small reaction channel is so fucking special. To me, it's like one of the highlights of my year in that way. So yeah, you can imagine why I adore them. And if you haven't heard Shoganai, it is one of the best EPs of the year, man. You need to go listen to it. I have a reaction to the whole series of it, or just go listen to it on your favourite streaming platform. Either way. Moving on into Seven Spires, a fortress called home. We're going to go into my description, then we'll talk about it. For the massive change from the speed and heaviness of the first three, mostly due to the character of Solveig, her story finishing within Gods of Debauchery, this album sets a brand new character with a brand new tone, allowing for different melodies and different tones to start off this journey. Adrian's pure emotion and power really adds something to this much slowed down album and makes it a different kind of masterpiece. So, if you listen to Solveig, Emerald Seas and Gods of Debauchery, they are very different to this album. They are faster, they are, I would say, not heavier in places. It depends which album. So Solveig is a mixture between clean and heavy. Emerald Seas is the lightest of the three, and then Gods of Debauchery is the heavier of the three, I would say. Like Gods of Debauchery is like kind of the end of the journey, kind of the stopping Solveig's journey, so it ends with heartbreaking, or whichever way you want to go about it, or it ends beautifully. I think it's a better way to describe it. Then we go into a fortress called home, where we're going into something completely different. It's a brand new character, it's a brand new vibe, and that shows in this album. It's slowed down compared to the other three, but I think that's important. I think trying to one up yourself every single time is not going to work, especially when you are on the caliber of what Seven Spires puts out year upon year upon year. I think that's important to show that you have that diversity, to be able to go slow, to slow everything down, to have speed in places where it's needed, but to show the talent of the musicianship, to show the talent of the vocals, to show how the albums are going through, to show how everything is moving towards, and moving us onto this journey lyrically, musically, and of course, this might just be the start of this journey. I guess we're going to find out as the next album starts to come out. I know Adrian is probably already writing or has already written some of it. I know what she's like. She's always working. Even when she came home from tour, like not long ago, she literally came home and started recording stuff just randomly on her microphone for Christmas stuff, because that's what she does. She's very addicted to what she does. If she's not in Spire, she's in Avantasia, and she's a very busy vocalist right now. She is very wanted in the scene, which is important. I'm glad she's getting the recognition that she deserves. She definitely deserves it. But yeah, between the two, I don't fucking know. I honestly don't. It's like trying to choose between my children. You know what I mean? It's like, because for me, songs are like that. Songs are very personal to me. Songs are very passionful for me. They are amazing. They are the things that keep me going in life, and they are some of my favourite things, and honestly, I don't know. I could tie it. You are right, Skull. I don't know. It's just one of those things that, it's hard to say, basically. Like, for me, they are so tired. I've listened to them. I think I've listened to Ankor more, to be honest with you. But they're both... for Spires, when I'm in the mood for Spires and I listen to it, it's such an amazingly emotional album. Ankor is just straight fun and amazing times, and I can listen to it whenever I want to, because it's just that kind of an album. They're two different kinds of albums. They are there for different purposes and different reasons in my life, if that makes any kind of sense to anybody. But yeah, either way, I'm going to tie them. Fuck it. I think that's the best way, because like I love them both for different reasons, man. So, the best overall is going to be tied between Seven Spires, A Fortress Called Home, and between Ankor, Shoganai, which is amazing. Gotta love, man. I never thought I would ever find a band that would tie Spires when they release, which is greatness to me. That bands are becoming that good now that they're literally going towards that level. But yeah, and of course we're going to go through our very last category, which is of course the most brutal, most heaviest, most craziest album of 2024, which of course goes to the band called Needful. Mr. Derek Connolly, Mr. Unholy Cannoli himself, with Paradise and Rumination LP. It's a remaster of his first album, and he added like 4 extra songs, something like that, onto the end, and it's all a brutality at its finest. So yeah, let's go through what I typed about it, just as a basic overview, and then we will chat. One of the most brutal albums to ever exist, deathcore, I don't think is an accurate term to fully describe it. It's a black metal on steroids. This album is what most black metal bands think their music sounds like, even when it doesn't. It's a black and deathcore to the nth degree, told from the point of view of Satan, going through his relationship with God and eventually turning into his need to destroy God and take the throne for himself, due to being cast out and forced to watch over hell and torture, / help torture souls for eternity. Derek using his insane vocal range to make an album that starts dark and gets forever darker the more you go through it. A masterpiece of a design. That basically says almost everything that I want to say. So, you start off with the first song and it's heavy, but by the time you get to Paradise and Rumination towards like the 7th song, I think it is, it's so much heavier, it's so much darker, it's like it's like it starts here in heaviness, like it goes to here in heaviness, it's a step upwards and it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. It's like breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. I think it was like a 7-song or 6-song streak of pure breakdownness to get to all the way through like that many songs of just like non-stop brutality, which is amazing, man. Derek Connolly, like I said, one of the greatest vocalists to ever live, one of the greatest deathcore vocalists. Him, Don, that's my top 2. Blake is amazing, don't get me wrong, this embodies Sinestro pushing the fucking scene forward, but in terms of pure vocal range, they don't have anything upon those two. Disembodied Tyrant push the scene forward for different reasons than vocals. They push it forward for their design, for the way they design music, but the way that Needful just push forward with pure destruction, the same with I Say It, and the same with a few other bands too, to be fair with you, but these bands are fucking crazy. And I think that's important. I think when you're looking for something that's crazy and pure heaviness, it's good to look for the bands that are the most insane, the most destructive, the most craziest of all. But still, either way, man, those are my picks, man. Those are my things. So yeah, most brutal shit goes to Lethal. Best overalls going to 7 Spires and Ankor. Lyricism's going to 7 Spires. Concept is going to Spires. Breakdown is going to Disembodied Tyrant and Sinestria. Diversity is going to Ankor. The best solo is going to Unlucky Morpheus. Most passionate is going to Dreariness. And the best vocal is obviously going to 7 Spires to Needful. And of course, the repeat is the Phantasma. Carry Me Home, man. So either way, hope you guys enjoyed. This is my rankings for the year. Let me know what you want to see in 2025, and you have a wonderful fucking day. What are your best rankings for this year? Where do you rank your albums, your songs, your whatever else? Do all this. And yeah, have a great and wonderful day. See you guys later.